Today on Situations and Conversations, we continue our very important community town hall conversation about fentanyl. Thanks to our presenting sponsor, Oregon Health Authority, we are going to discuss how fentanyl affects our children. Whatever you think you know, there's more to learn. The situation is serious, y'all. And now, the second of our two-part conversation starts now.
Situations and Conversations with Renee. Situations and Conversations with Renee. Real situations, real conversations. Empowering the community leads to elevation. Entertainment and education, no better time than now.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit about how that works.
Yes, please.
So remember we said that opioids will block the breathing centers in the brain. Narcan will reverse that block.
Within 2 minutes, hopefully.
Yes, and if it doesn't, after 2 minutes, you can give a second dose. You can give a dose and another dose until help gets there. Now remember, it's not a silver bullet. It's like a first aid thing that you're doing before we get them to the hospital. So while we're waiting for the ambulance to come and take them to the hospital where they will get treatment. But if they have stopped breathing, that's it.
They may not make it to the hospital.
Yeah, Judith said here, if no oxygen in the brain, it takes 5 minutes, brain is dead. 5 minutes, that's all you have.
That's all we have.
Yes.
Okay, so here's my question. It may sound silly, but if they're not breathing, when I think about, this is like a nasal spray?
It is a nasal spray.
So it's a liquid.
Yes, it comes out as a mist, yes.
Okay, so this mist goes in. I don't know, but every time I'm doing some sort of nasal spray, it's like you're supposed to sniff it so it gets up there, right? But if they're not breathing, it just, how does it get in there if they're not?
It's going to be absorbed.
Oh, through the blood, through the nostrils?
Yeah, through the nostrils,
okay.
It will be absorbed, yes.
Wow.
And the nose is very close to the brain centers. So yes, so it's a very, there's also one that's injectable, just like allergy, remember, allergy shots, not shots, but epinephrine, EpiPens.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, there's also, it can also come as an EpiPen, and you just inject it through.
But it has to be in the thigh.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
okay.
Where there's a big muscle, yes.
Okay, so that's good. So a muscle,
yes.
if it's like if it's an injection, but
yes,
nasal spray.
Nasal spray.
How many?
Easy.
How many in each nostril?
So you push the plunger all the way,
Yep.
and that all the medicine is delivered. And so if you need to go a second round after 2 minutes, like Judith said, then you need another one. You need to break another one and also push it all the way.
All right.
Yes.
Good to know. Oh, good. Looks like we have some young people already lined up over here. Is it time for community questions? Okay. You all ready? Everybody still okay? Well, all right. Thank you. Thank you for the call and response. It means a lot. Okay. All right. Well, we have our first questions over here. Yes?
Okay, so I was wondering, where does the fentanyl come from, and can I take it on accident?
Yes, it can happen on accident. So there are people, drug cartels and drug traffickers that are selling fentanyl out, and they sell it online, and they target. Some of them are targeting young people. In fact, we didn't talk about it, but they are making fentanyl that we call it rainbow fentanyl. It looks like candy, and they just to attract young people. And so sometimes maybe, are you in school? You're in school, yeah. Maybe somebody in school gets in the wrong crowd and they end up buying this fentanyl online. They can go on Snapchat and get it and order it from there. And the people at Snapchat they're very tricky, They will advertise it, and sometimes you don't even know what you're saying yes to, and then they figure you out, and then they connect with you through apps like WhatsApp. And when they do that, then they sell it to you, and then you end up paying them on like cash apps like or Zelle. So that's how people end up getting the fentanyl, and then they bring it to school, and then y'all go to the mall to have a good time. A group of friends have a good time, and then somebody produces these pills, right? They say, "Hey, we're having a good time. Let's try out these pills," right? And everybody's taking them. All your peers are taking them, and so you take a pill, not knowing that this pill. Usually, they might say, "Oh, it's Percocet," like the Percocet grandma takes, and then you think it's Percocet, and then you take it, and it turns out that was fentanyl. And we need a very, very, very tiny dose to cause an overdose and die. So that's how it's ending up in the hands of young people. Okay, but we do know that you guys are smart and you listen, and when we tell you where the dangers are, you know that you will say no to, right? Yes. Okay. Mm-hmm.
So I was wondering how the current use of fentanyl compares to the crack epidemic of the 80s.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Well, I think I don't know whether to say it's worse or the same. I wasn't around here in the 80s, but I've read about that, yeah. It's really, what I want to say, and that's a really good question, because back in the day, in the 80s, young people, sometimes they're experimenting. It's a time, the brain is developing. You're between being a child and being an adult. Lots of things are going on in the brains. There's hormones going on in the brain. And then sometimes we get tempted to experiment. And so back in the 80s, young people would experiment on alcohol, or sometimes they would experiment on marijuana. And then, then they get caught by their parents and they are straightened out, right? Yeah. And they stop and they stop doing those bad habits. And so there was time, but with fentanyl, it's so deadly. Sometimes it just takes that one pill, the one slip up you made, and you overdose and you're gone. So that's the danger. So for me, it's one of the deadliest. To me, it's even deadlier than crack in the 80s, because only one slip up and you're gone. Yeah. So that's the problem that we're having right now. That's why we have a crisis right now. Thank you. Yes.
Wow. Well, if anyone else wants to come up, you can come right over here if you would like to ask any questions.
Thank you for the information that you guys are sharing. Just for clarification purposes, when you're administering the Narcan, I was in an event yesterday, and they said there were 3 different spots that you can administer. I just want to make sure that it's correct. Mm-hmm. The leg, mm-hmm. the arm, mm-hmm. and then she said in the chest. Is that correct?
The chest, I don't know. I haven't heard that. I do know where there's a big muscle, like the leg is a good spot to do, and the muscle in the arm is a good spot to do, and the nasal spray. Those are the 2 that I know. Maybe the glutes, maybe. Yeah, but I have not heard about. And you're in a hurry because remember you have 5 minutes and then the brain is dead, and so you're trying to get this Narcan as fast as possible. So if it's the injectable one, you don't even take off their jeans. You just inject right through the clothes. Yes.
Yeah, and they said oftentimes the vials are small, so maybe sometimes you might need 2.
With the nasal spray,
liquid.
The liquid one, and I don't know. I need to check on that. Honestly, yes, yeah. But I know the nasal spray, which is the one that's most popular, the most common one, that you might need more than one. Yes, thank you.
Hello. Hey, so I have a couple questions.
Mm-hmm.
So I work in a school, and one of the questions is, are we responsible if someone dies after we do the Narcan?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Very good question. And we will talk about the Good Samaritan laws, right?
Yeah. Let's talk about them now. No, go ahead.
Yes, yeah. Let's start with the Good Samaritan laws. So the Good Samaritan Law is actually really good. Initially it was made for, clinicians. So you're in a plane and somebody has a heart attack, and you help them to save their lives. And if something didn't go well, then because you're helping them as a good Samaritan, they cannot turn around and sue you. Okay, and so in the case of opioid overdose, so you find somebody is not breathing or they are unconscious, and you have no idea, did they OD, did they overdose, or are they having a cardiac arrest? Is their blood sugar too low? What's going on? But you, as a good Samaritan, and you have napkin in your pocket, in your bag, you say, you want to make sure that nothing, in case it's an overdose, you don't want to take chances, and so you give it to them, and it turns out maybe sometimes it was an overdose, so you give napkin and you save their lives. You save their lives long enough for them to get into the hospital. But what if it wasn't an overdose? What if it was something else was going on, but you still give them napkin? The good thing with napkin is that it's not going to cause any damage. It's not going to make anything, regardless, whatever they have, whatever they're suffering, it's not going to affect anything. Even if it was their heart, it's not going to hurt them. So that's the good thing. The other good thing is because of the Good Samaritan laws, you're protected. So since we're here, parents, because of our children, now, usually what happens when overdoses happen with our children, so they're out in the malls or they're out at a party, hanging out, having a good time, and then these pills get passed around and everybody takes, and then one person overdoses and they're lying there slouched. The other kids, we call them bystanders, they're usually there watching. In fact, a lot of overdoses that happen, 74% of the time, there are people hanging out, watching, sometimes even filming them. They don't know. And then when they realize something is gone wrong, this person looks like they could die, they're too afraid to call 911 because they think, I'm going to get in trouble. The cops are going to come here. I'm going to get in trouble. My parents are going to know about this. So I better just cut and run, right? And so the Good Samaritan laws protects you. So even if you are there and you also had taken a pill and you called 911, you will not get in trouble. So that's what the Good Samaritan laws is about. Yes, you'll not get in trouble. So if you have napkin, it's wonderful. We hope that people will start carrying napkin around. If you have napkin, because instead of being a bystander, filming and or getting scared, give them napkin, save their life. But before you give them napkin, call 911, get them help, and give them napkin, and then you save their lives because they now can get in the hospital and get treated.
And then my last question is, how often are you going into schools training people on how to do this?
How often what?
Are you going into schools and training people how to do this?
And training people about this. So this crisis, we are now beginning these conversations in the community. In fact, we have our leadership here. Tomorrow we have a session with leaderships where the community, if you can come into these conversations, you can have a chance to ask our leadership questions directly, and also bring your voices and share what you're seeing in the community, what's going on. So there's a lot of effort being made by all the public health agencies, the state agency like ours and the counties, all collaborating right now to help address this crisis. But nobody can address this crisis by themselves. No one agency can do this. It's going to take all hands on deck. It's going to take community. It's going to take all the public. It's going to take even the education system. all parents, all of us have to come together and figure out a way out of this crisis. And so in schools, there's efforts to social media to get to talk to the young people, because we know that for our young people, drug use is low, and it keeps going low. It's been trending low, which is a very, very good thing. Unfortunately, I know it's confusing because we are also seeing overdose coming up. Drug use is low, but in there lays the good news. And this is because what's going on is young people, as parents, we talk to them, they roll their eyes, we don't think they're listening, but they actually listen, they hear us when we talk to them. Because the young people, when you ask them these days, how come, you're not experimenting on drugs? Their answer is, we've had conversations with my parents and at school, and we know we've given them the information that they need so they can make good choices for themselves. Now, just saying no is not working. They want more than that. They want information. So parents, make sure you're getting the correct, empowering yourself with information so you can empower the young people. Same with teachers. All of us, we need to get together, public health agencies, we need to come up with, we're coming up actually with social media, what are they called, apps, or what are they called, just instructions that can help young people understand what this crisis is about, what fentanyl is, what it does, all this stuff we're talking about. Now we're going to be finding a lot of that in social media. There'll be people coming and talking just like we're talking here. And this is not a one and done conversation. I'm hoping that we'll see a lot of these conversations going on in the communities, especially our Black community, because right now we are the worst hit by this crisis. Yes.
Yeah, I was going to get to that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Can I ask one more question?
Please do.
When you said the numbers are low, where are you getting your data from for schools?
For young people, this is by CDC.
Okay.
Yeah, when they collect over time, and so they see the drug use numbers just in marijuana, alcohol, vaping. All those numbers have been going low because of all the education that we've been doing as parents and as teachers and as communities. Those, we are starting to see results for those. Unfortunately, what has happened now, we have a deadlier drug. So even one slip up is causing these overdose deaths to happen. Yes.
Thank you.
Hello. Ooh, I was worried you wouldn't be able to hear me. So I'm a CPR and first aid instructor. So a plug for the Black-owned business. But opioid use and abuse and administration of Narcan and naloxone is regularly included in CPR first aid classes. So that's another way to keep up on the information. I was wondering if you could speak to, because in your demonstration, it was administered and it was pretty peaceful and easygoing after that. But can you speak to how that might not be the case, how that person might not be grateful to you for administering naloxone?
What a smart question.
Okay, Noni.
Yeah. So remember we said that the Narcan is going to reverse the blockage for breathing. But the other thing it's going to do, the side effect it's going to do, is going to reverse the good feeling they were feeling. So they wake up in withdrawals. Actually, they might wake up confused and feeling withdrawal symptoms, which are not pleasant. And so they might be very angry with you. Yeah, so that's something that's a little, but at least they're alive even if they're angry with you. And hopefully by the time, if, they're very confused. So, and then I'm hoping because they're very confused, they're not going to strike you or hit you or anything. But they might call you names and, whatever. But then by the time then you have help comes in and that will help you manage that situation. Yes.
Yeah, I've heard that they can be violent, so I just wanted to put people out on notice just to kind of be prepared just in case.
Yeah, and if they become violent, oh, get out of there. If it's not safe for you, get out of there. At least now they're breathing, on their own. They're not dying. You've done your job, so get out of there. Yes.
Thank you.
Oh, that's good. I didn't know that.
So my question centered around, one, I'm a trauma recovery nurse. I work at Legacy Emmanuel, and I have been on the other end where I get to see, our young population, where we know those decisions are being made. The decisions we may make as high schoolers, where we might try this one thing. Well, what's happening is, like you said, they don't know what they're getting. And I love that you had the conversation about what the others around are doing, because the conversations we need to have, not just in our Black homes, but all homes, we need to be making sure that our children know that this whole idea of you getting in trouble about being in this place is far less than what I'm going to say to you when I find out you left that person there. Because that's what's happening when we end up with the brain dead 18-year-old on graduation night. Nobody stayed there to not only, even if Narcan wasn't available, circulating their blood to keep their brain alive until somebody else gets there. So I just wanted to, someone just asked the question about schools. There's just a powerful impact we can have in schools if we're addressing it in another way. So one, being a trauma recovery nurse, and being a CPR instructor, and being a recovering addict, I'm coming with a whole lot of different thoughts. But again, when we talk about recovering addict, I'm also coming through the 80s of the crack epidemic, and this is something totally different. So I survived that. So looking at this, one of the things, my question, I guess, would be more toward leadership. What are the efforts that are being made to target these areas where our young children are becoming victims? They don't really even know what they're up against, and I think it's not that us older, it's not that older lives aren't as important. We get it. Nobody, even the ones that are in active addiction, they don't go into that wanting to die. So I'm not saying that the children, it serves a greater priority, but we have a responsibility, because this is something now that they're getting into and they don't even know. Like, they're not even getting the opportunity to have conversations with their mom or their father saying, well, I don't know why I took that pill, but Mom, I don't like the way that it felt, that because that pill took their life. I've watched in the hospitals where the families are making these decisions that we have to go ahead and pull the plug, and just thinking. And, I'm specifically saying, the one that I'm thinking about, nobody stayed because nobody wanted to get in trouble. So these are conversations. I mean, we talk to our kids about drug use, and we really want them to know, don't do that. So we do put the fear of God in them. But we need to change the conversations we're having with our children so that they're recognizing, yeah, here's these concerns that we have, honey, but Mama would much rather you stay here and call 911 and do what the dispatchers ask you to do. And the young lady just said CPR first aid. We do teach in first aid. Narcan is a part of the teaching, but there's more that can go along with that, because if you give Narcan and that doesn't work, if you have a dispatcher, they'll walk you through it. But giving rescue breaths is one thing, but if that's not getting them there, CPR needs to take place. We talked about hands-only CPR for people that don't know how to do complete CPR, but that needs to be, I think that needs to be a normal part of every high school education. Not only for the purposes of, them being in the right place to do what needs to be done, but those same high schoolers coming home can save their father who just had a heart attack. So I just wanted to be able to I just loved everything that was being said, but I like that it's getting the attention as it being a severe problem, because it is. And being able to see it on the other sides of it, on the other end, you guys, it's really hard. It's really hard.
Thank you for everything you do, too. Thank you.
We wanted to address the question around education. I think someone had a question about that, what we're doing in schools. And so we do just want to give our leadership opportunity to address that.
My name is Molly Haynes, and I work for the Oregon Health Authority, and working very closely with the Oregon Department of Education, as well as the Alcohol, Drug, and Policy Commission, to implement some legislation that got passed in 2023 that called on all three agencies to work together to implement curriculum around fentanyl education in schools. So that will be coming to schools all over the state starting this next school year. So yes, thank you for that. And in addition to that, we'll of course be working with the school districts across the state to make sure they have what they need to deliver those lessons in schools, as well as working to understand the needs around training teachers around naloxone. And then I think the other really big thing for me that I hear a lot around, how people respond to this and making sure that our youth and young people and adults don't feel like they're going to get in trouble, and that is reducing the stigma. So events like this, people talking to their neighbors and friends and children and family about the fact that this is a health crisis, and really trying to take the shame out of it is really important. So really appreciate y'all being here, and I'm happy to stay and answer any questions about the work that we're doing in the education sector.
I mean, again, this is why we are here this evening. Yes. This is why we're so happy that we had an amazing turnout from the community, because it's affecting each and every one of us in some sort of way. Some more direct than others, but trust and believe, it's here. And we need to do something right now. And so again, I know we're running out of time. I know we have probably a bunch of questions, so I'm saying maybe we can do this more often, but I really want to thank, first and foremost, you all for showing up tonight. Thank you so much. It's a weekday night. I know it's not easy, but this is super important, and I'm so appreciative to see you all here. And of course, I want to thank the Oregon Health Authority. I mean, this wouldn't happen without them. And they care. They're not only here, but they are putting their money where their mouth is and making sure that the information is getting out to the communities that need it and supporting everybody who's out here doing the work every single day. So thank you, Oregon Health Authority. And thank you, Noni, as an expert also from OHA, for being here. And
thank you, Trey.
No. This is my honor and my privilege to use my platform to be able to do exactly what we're doing, to help. That's it. We're supposed to be of service, and this is exactly what we're doing. And we want to continue this work. And please take this information, take it back with you. Make sure you have these conversations. Make sure you reach out. You have all the grab bags and the goodie bags with all the things in it. Make sure you don't just toss those things aside. Read the information and pass it along. Even if you reach just one more person, it's going to make a difference. Okay, so thank you all so much for being here.
Special thanks to our presenting sponsor, Oregon Health Authority, helping people and communities achieve optimum physical, mental, and social well-being. And thanks to Tabiba Styles for hair and makeup glam, as well as Adorn Boutiques for my wardrobe. Situations and Conversations with Trey Renee is shot on location at Louisa Event Space in Portland. Situations and Conversations with Trey Renee is a Bum Juice Entertainment production in conjunction with Thomas Chung Films, Bloom Beauty Collective, and Allen & Unger Consulting Group. Situations and Conversations with Trey Renee. Watch Saturday mornings at 11 a.m. on Fox 12+.